All right, not so much a strange happening, just kind of current events, I guess. And first thing you notice is this. I had surgery today about 12 hours ago. It turns out I had a dense fungus in my sinuses. Surprised everybody in Louisiana doesn't have it. I mean, hot, humid, yeah, figures, makes sense. I've always had sinus issues for as long as I can think of. So, yeah, makes sense. And it was so dense it wouldn't come out on its own, so I had to go in, scrape it out, that kind of thing, under general anesthesia. Interesting thing, when I got the CT scan, I also discovered I had a deviated septum. When he went in there today, turns out I broke my nose at some point in my past. I have no idea when that was. I literally cannot think of a single instance where I broke my nose. Or even had nosebleeds like that from a broken nose or anything. So I have no idea. That's just happened. Today's surgery for fungus and repairing a broken nose from some time in my past. Okay, well, yeah, it's good. No pain at all right now. Maybe later. Who knows? What else is going on? Let's see. Yesterday, the day before the surgery, it was interesting. It did something I think me and my wife worked out really positive for someone else. And then all this music later started coming on the radio that matched even some of the titles of my Strange Happening videos. I found it very odd that it matched things in my videos that I put out there. I talked about how weird songs on the radio sometimes happen. Well, it happened again yesterday, and I'd never heard the song at all. Very weird. It's very powerful, very energetic. I know about the solar storm and everything. It felt like electricity dancing across the surface of your skin, that kind of thing. But for the radio, it was really interesting. And again, we had those solar storms come up. We did have some aurora, even here in Louisiana. We took a little picture of it. It was very faint where we're at in Louisiana, so it wasn't much of anything. But it was interesting, pretty cool. I do watch some of Ben Davidson's stuff with spaceweathernews.org. I did actually get one of the only copies of his hardcover book. Sorry, still a little loopy, I guess, from surgery. But so I did get a hard copy of his book. He's got it in PDF form on his website now, Space Weather News, whatever. Look it up on YouTube. But it's nice. I love it. He did sign it. So I had one of the hard copies. The only way you could get it was pre-ordered before it came out. So I love it. It's got some beautiful graphics in it, really nice pictures, all in color. So a lot of nice stuff in here. I really like it. Glossy pages, every one of them. I love it. So it was fun watching that. What else? Let's see. Oh, at the same time, yesterday, when all this other weird stuff was going on, I think it was last night, got an email in. There's from the Super Experiencers group. I did a Strange Happening number 203. This was with Sean Ishborn Hargens, speaking with Jeffrey Mishlove on Jeffrey's site. And they were doing a survey for super experiencers and trying to get a lot of people to participate. Looks like they got about 400 to participate, so they consider this kind of a pilot study, and they can narrow their focus more on it. And so they have now created a website, superexperiencers.org. Experiencers with an S? Is it with an S? Hold on just one moment. Let me check that out. Oh, click. Why does my finger not seem to work? Super Experiencer, no S, superexperiencer.org. And I looked into some of the leadership, and there was Jeffrey Mishlove and several other people I recognize on there. Gary Nolan, Sean Ishborn Hargens, of course. So several recognizable names in there. So I thought that was kind of good for that. So they put a new survey up. The thing I found funny I went through the whole website looking at it, and things they found in common for the super experiencers there, and it's almost like telling the story of different parts of their life that things have happened. And I'm like, this seems to be my entire life. I don't know why it came out that way. It's very weird. So actually, this gave me some hesitation because it was too targeted to stuff that I had put in my previous survey, and it was very targeted. It seemed very targeted to my whole life and my videos and what I've put out, how things can happen, memories, from birth, things you're born with at birth, and then something happens later and opens up a whole new field. And then some of these people experiences things every day of their life or every week. The people, and then they list 5 different categories, which I've kind of matched all 5. They would consider those super experiencers. And I'm like, why does this seem targeted to me kind of thing? And I'm like, is this real? Is this fake? Is this a fake email? I don't know. The website is out there. So it gave me some hesitation, honestly. And the other thing that caused me hesitation is that first survey, they said it would take like 10 to 15 minutes to fill out. It took me 2 hours. And now in this survey, they're saying it'll take 2 to 4 hours, but it's much less to fill out. Much less. It's specific fields, very specific fields, and they want the most vivid, the best example for each one of these fields. And I'm like, this isn't going to take 2 to 4 hours. Well, I can make it, but if they just want one example for each topic, I think I might be a little confused on exactly how much they want, because I don't know. But 2 to 4 hours was what they said it would take to fill out the survey. And I just think, how is that possible if you just want one example? They don't say one example. They just say the best example. And that leads me to think they just want one. I don't know. Am I rambling? I think I'm rambling. So I probably will do the survey and just send it in. I'm 62 now. So eventually this will lead to years in the future. They might do some physical tests on people. I probably won't even be alive by then. But, they might have some paper copy of what they need. I don't know. The other interesting book I found, I saw something on some video somewhere, and for some reason a little voice in my head was saying, yes, there's something in here you might want to read. A little voice in my head, like, just like, not buy the book, but there's something in here, like a paragraph, not the whole book, but there's something specific in here that you need to read. So I bought the book. I do stuff like that. This is the book. Where's the author? Is the author? Frederick Alzofan? Frederick Alzofan? I have no idea who he is. I have no idea. But some little voice in my head was like, there's a small section in here that you need to read. Figures. That's where my life works. This is everyday stuff. Just everyday stuff. And so with the Super Experiencer survey, again, coming out, that was one of the bullet points. Like, some of this stuff happens to people every day. And it does. It's all the time. It's constant. It's all the time with me. And I guess I don't know that they put it in there or not. It's like, how do you live with that? All these videos I put out there, these are real examples. Even with the synchronicities, just like the last video with the Bugosphere and the symbols on the Bugosphere, 5 years before that Bugosphere appeared, I held up a card showing those symbols, or not all the symbols, but some symbols of what I call light language, writing these weird symbols. And I've done this since a teenager. And that was 5 years before the Bugosphere appeared. And I match up a lot of those symbols, and I recognize those symbols. It's like, how is that possible? But I don't dwell on it, and I just go with it, because stuff like that is all the time. It's just strange synchronicities and weird things. I'm looking like a cat now with this, and the bandages. With fungus in my sinuses and a previous broken nose, I have no idea where it came from. I don't remember. So, funny. Anyway. Oh, you're definitely seeing a different background, because I told you I wouldn't make any more videos, so I moved the whole computer into a different room that I'm in now. And one of my favorite posters ever is this one right here. It's Lord of the Rings with Gandalf and Frodo and Sam on the sides, and all different kind of writings, the elfish writings and stuff. The funny thing about that is, I remember going into a bookstore. If you've ever seen the Never Ending Story, that old bookstore look, all the browns and the old books, in Boston, finding this bookstore, my wife was with me, finding this bookstore, and then finding a ladder down into a basement where they had stuff stored. And I was just rummaging around and found this poster. And so I bought it home and framed it. Now, my wife tells me that bookstore never had a basement. I didn't go into a basement. And she doesn't know where I got the poster from. I specifically remember buying that poster, going down into the basement, rummaging around. I remember the crate. I remember the exact everything about it, buying it, picking it up, buying it. And my wife says that never happened. She doesn't remember that. That never happened. I'm like, and she has no idea where that came from. So, but that's my favorite poster. You know, weird things like that happen. And she was with me. So, I don't know. You just go with it daily. So how do you live your life with all this all the time? You just do. I mean, it's just like everybody else's life. So everybody else has a normal life, right? I think I'm normal now. Especially now, I've watched a few videos. Been watching, I think is that Matt Shepard, something like that. He's a INFP psychiatrist, but with an INFP Meigs-Bryer personality test. And I know that's not definite, that the Meigs-Bryer stuff is just a general personality, something or another. It doesn't define who you are or anything. It's just kind of preferences. And I am an INFP type preference, so my imagination goes all over the place all the time. And it's hard to track down and stop it sometimes. There's thoughts going everywhere all the time. It's very odd, but it's nice to hear somebody else with this type of personality talking about it. That's a psychiatrist or something. So it's like, oh, I like that. I kind of relate to that. So yeah, it makes me feel more normal. More normal. So that's pretty good. I like that. Anything else really wild and crazy? Just my normal wild and crazy everyday stuff. Like I said, when the solar flares, the CMEs, the X1 followed by the X5.1, when they were hitting and stuff, it was like on my skin, electricity just dancing across the surface of my skin. It's like little, not even pinpricks, lighter than that. It was feeling like if you had maybe some lace with really heavy ridges and you just pulled it across your skin and just dragged it across your skin, like something with a good texture, and you were dragging it across your skin. That's what it felt like. Not pinpricks, but just a light over my arms, because I had my arms out the sleeves like this yesterday, and it was just like funny, just feeling it. Feeling electricity kind of thing. I mentioned about feeling electricity before, so that was interesting. But that's just an everyday thing. You know, it's just every day. So I think the only reason I'm making the video is because I went through surgery. I think the drugs are still working. The pain medicine is still working because I don't feel a thing from this yet. And I had that email come across from superexperiencers.org that I'll probably fill out that survey anyway, even though I know they've been done probably 100 million times across the planet throughout the decades. But it's like, why not? Why not? I'm sitting here with this, not doing much for another week at least. No mowing or anything with this right now. And then the new book coming out, the songs on the radio after all these other things, and this. So I just thought I'd fill you in while I'm rambling after surgery. So I hope y'all have a great day, and this was really nothing much, just normal everyday stuff.